In compliance with Chapter 231 of the Open Public Meeting Acts of the State of New Jersey, adequate notice having been given to all members of the governing body, the local source, and the Westfield Leader, and the 2 newspapers designated to receive such notice. This notice is also posted on the Borough Hall bulletin board. We're going to start with an invocation from Council President Turner.
Dear Lord, please guide us tonight so that our decisions will benefit all Mountainside residents and keep our police, fire, and rescue services safe. Amen.
Amen.
I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Martha, roll call.
Councilwoman Andre?
Here.
Councilman Lane?
Here.
Councilman Messler is absent. Councilman Mortimer?
Here.
Councilman Turner?
Here.
Councilman Ross?
Here.
Well, tonight we have one of the proclamations that we enjoy giving every year. It's the Mabel Young Good Neighbor Award. We have 2 fine recipients tonight, so I'll hand it over to the Mabel Young Award Committee to handle the proceedings.
Very nice.
Good evening. My name is Janet Skinner, and I am here to introduce to you our 2 Mabel Young recipients for this year. First, I'm going to tell you a little bit about Gina Parada. Gina Misano moved to Mountainside when she was in the 1st grade, and she met Jeannie Parada in a very cute way. They had lunch together. They were the only 2 that got picked up by their parents, brought home for lunch, and brought back an hour later. And in that, their moms became good friends. So we've got these best friends brewing. They both went to Jonathan Dayton, and Gina graduated along with her spouse, soon-to-be Tom. Gina attended Montclair State University and realized that growing up in Mountainside, she had fond memories of her grammar school years, her going to the Mountainside pool, going to what we called summer playground back then, just having a great childhood in this town. She knew she wanted to stay here through her adulthood, and after moving into Mountainside with her husband and having her daughter Jessica, Gina worked on Mountainside's Family Education Council, and then she became our PTA president for 2 years. She's a board member of the Mountainside Education Foundation, helps writing requests for grants to supplement our current Mountainside curriculum. Gina coaches rec soccer, rec basketball, rec, and MSA softball now for 7 years. And she's also part of our library bunch, helping to raise money for books for the school. Jeannie Ruban, many of us still know her as Jeannie Parada. She also grew up here, also attending Deerfield K-8, making her best friend Gina. She also has fond memories of growing up here in Mountainside. Graduated Jonathan Dayton High School with her husband, Jim Ruban. Jeannie attended the College of New Jersey, which was Trenton State at the time. She also knew she wanted to stay in Mountainside, having been given a wonderful childhood here. Jeannie was the PTA vice president for 2 years, and under that umbrella, she organized the fashion show Silent Auction, and she runs the PTA luncheon every year, having learned it from her mother, who ran it her entire grammar school life. Jeannie also coaches rec and PAL soccer, rec basketball, rec softball, and PAL cheerleading. She is a PAL board member and a Mountainside Youth Baseball board member, overseeing the Snack Shack, which is a huge responsibility, as those of us who go there this entire season realize. That's a biggie. She taught CCD for 3 years. She's a Girl Scout troop leader, and she ran our Breakfast with St. Nicholas at Our Lady of Lourdes. So one of the first things these grown-up best friends did together was revive what they remembered from their childhood, which was our annual PTA fair. That was a big day when we were all growing up. And after Jeannie and Gina realized that the fair no longer existed when they were now adults living in Mountainside, they rose to the occasion and they created what we all know today, which is our Fall Festival. The Fall Festival is a wonderful day for everyone in town to spend together. These two women, dear friends who have now become sisters-in-law, have both done so much to keep our traditions that they grew up with alive for the children living in Mountainside. Their involvement and willingness to say yes has allowed today's Mountainside kids to experience the many great activities in this wonderful community of ours. So congratulations to you two. That's not fair.
First of all, I would like to thank the Mabel Young Committee, Council, and the Borough of Mountainside for this award. It is an honor to be recognized for volunteering in the community. I am lucky enough to have a family that supports me at all times. My parents, Pat and Tony, instilled in me the importance of volunteering and helping in the community very early on. My in-laws, Mike and Jean, instilled the same values in their children. To this day, you can see my parents and in-laws helping out in the community. I cannot thank them enough for all the help they have given me through the years. I also would not be here without the love, support, and help of my husband, Tom, and daughter, Jessica. They are the people that ultimately allow me to volunteer as much as I do and are always willing to pitch in and help at any time. Lastly, I would like to acknowledge all the volunteers who have helped work beside me over the years. These people truly make Mountainside a great place to live. Thank you. And thank you, Larry.
Mine's just a little bit longer. Gina told me not to talk long.
How
Tommy told me
surprising.
not to talk long. I'm going to try and do this without crying, too.
There's a 5-minute limitation.
All right, I think I can do it in 3. Thank you, Janet, for your kind words. Thank you, Gina, for sharing this award with me. It's nice to have a best friend as a sister-in-law. And I'd like to thank the mayor, the council, and the Mabel Young Committee. I'd like to take a moment to thank my parents. I could thank them for so many things, but tonight I'd like to thank them for choosing Mountainside as a place to raise their family. My parents were also role models for volunteerism in Mountainside. My dad coached for many years and sat on the Mountainside Youth Baseball Board as I do today. My mom did everything, from newcomers to PTA. She's most famous for her culinary talent, specifically her crumb cake, which we'll all share in a bit upstairs, and is, I know, the only reason why some of you are here. Mr. Turner. Keith reminded me of that. My mom often tells me to slow down, that I do too much, but I tell her it's all I know because I learned from the best by watching all she did for me and my brothers and the town. I'd also like to thank my 2 great brothers, Michael and Tommy. I feel like what they give to Mountainside far exceeds what I do. Michael's a Mountainside police officer and has been. Tommy says 15 years. Is it true? 15? 16 years. And Tommy has been a Mountainside firefighter for 24. Tommy also served on the town council for 9 years. So I think you could say volunteerism is in our blood. Next, I'd like to thank my wonderful husband, Jim, and my children, Sabrina and Jimmy. They are what keep me going. Jim supports whatever I do. He often holds down the fort while I'm at a meeting or even at work. And he's even gotten the Mountainside bug himself. He grew up in Springfield, but he's been on the planning board for 4 years. He coaches Jimmy in every sport, and recently he gained a seat on the Board of Education. Sabrina and Jimmy never complain. They're usually right behind me helping out, enthusiastic with what I do. By far, their favorite place to be is down at the fields. And I say, whose isn't? It's my favorite place to be, too. I think MYB, Mountainside Youth Baseball, is ready to turn the Shack Snack responsibility over to Sabrina because she knows the place better than I do. She can also be found oftentimes in our basement running her very own fall festival. Lastly, I'd like to thank Suzanne Zimmerman and 2 of her girls who are in my Girl Scout troop are here tonight, and that means so much to me. Actually, Jenna Ponte and I and Suzanne Zimmerman run a Girl Scout troop together, and I see Jessica here as well. So Jill, Allie, and Jessica, thank you for coming, and so many friends, thank you for coming, and children too. It means so much. Suzanne Zimmerman nominated the Parada family group for this award, but she herself could be up here as the recipient, as so many people in this room and so many of my friends could be. And that's what makes this town tick. That's what Mountainside's all about. I call it Mountainside Magic, because you call and they come. You email and they come. Just this past weekend was such a testament to that. Opening day, in my mind, nothing compares to opening day in Mountainside. It's my favorite day. It's been special to me since I marched as a little girl in that parade. And the volunteers who come together to prepare the fields, stock the snack shacks, organize the parade, man the grills, are a sight to behold. I am just happy to be a small part of it all. I consider myself blessed to live in a town like Mountainside, surrounded by family and friends, to be placed amongst names like Mabel Young, Angela Richards, Sandy Burge, surrounded by so many wonderful people, and I look forward to these traditions continuing long into the future. I thank you, and I invite you to please join us upstairs for cake and coffee. Thank you. Look at her Hello Kitty camera. Did she get it? Did you see her Hello Kitty camera?
Jeannie, save me a piece of crumb cake.
We are all glad that you all came to our meeting and are waiting to see the wheels of Mountainside government grind on. But if you don't want to, we certainly won't be insulted if you want to go have Mrs. Parada's crumb cake instead of listening to me. Thank you all for coming. Gina?
Save some.
Very good.
Congratulations.
Got a couple of people left.
There we go, down to...
Business at hand. First, we have approval of the minutes of the regular session meeting on March 15th, 2011.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Poll the council.
Councilwoman Andre?
Yes.
Councilman Lane?
Yes.
Councilman Mortimer?
Yes.
Councilman Turner?
Yes.
Councilman Was?
Yes.
Next, we have approval of the minutes of the work and executive session meetings on April 5th, 2011.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Poll the council.
Councilwoman Andre?
Yes.
Councilman Lane?
Yes.
Councilman Mortimer?
Abstain.
Councilman Turner?
Yes.
Councilman Was?
Yes.
Next, we have second reading on ordinance 1186-2011 with public input. Jeff?
An ordinance to establish a municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank as allowed by law under NJSA 40A:4/45.14. So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. We'll open it up to public input. Seeing really no public, we
Seeing no public present, I move that section be closed.
all in favor?
Aye.
So closed. Poll the council.
Councilwoman Andre?
Yes.
Councilman Lane?
Yes.
Councilman Mortimer?
Yes.
Councilman Turner?
Yes.
Councilman Was?
Yes.
Next, we have Resolution 63A, 2011.
This resolution will amend the 2011 budget as approved by Mayor and Council at the March 15th, 2011 council meeting to comply with the new municipal library tax levy law under PL 2011, C.38.
Excuse me. Mayor?
Usually you have the hearing on the introduction first, then you do the amendment afterwards.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
No problem. Thank you. Okay, so I guess we're going to have our budget hearing first and the adoption. Just to go over the budget and some of the pluses and minuses so everyone can understand where their tax dollars are going and why their taxes are going up. This year, the tax increase for the municipal and the library is going to be $128.88 for the average assessment. The reason I'm saying municipal and library is the new law that was just passed pulled the library funding outside of our budget, and it's actually going to show up as a separate line item, and they'll also have their own rate. The amount of the total amount of the increase was $383,757.25. Where that came from is the operating budget actually decreased by $34,127,000. The salaries under A&E also decreased by $11,000. The salaries for the police pursuant to their contract, that increased $30,979. Snow removal increased by $94,792. Big surprise. We had a reserve for tax appeals. We increased that by $20,000. The increase for our insurances, the JIF, other insurances, and health insurance was $79,000, of which $69,897 was outside of the cap, pursuant to the cap law. Railway Valley Sewer Authority increased their fees a total of $33,500, and the pension contribution increased $139,461, of which $126,992 were outside of the cap. So the two big numbers outside of the cap was our insurance and our contributions to pension. We did have an increase in some anticipated revenues, basically through the rec department, our construction department, sewer franchise fees, and some miscellaneous. That was a total of $58,217.41. We did increase the amount of surplus by $60,000 that we're using. Last year, we were able to utilize a pool surplus of $50,000. That wasn't available to us this year, so that actually hurt us in trying to balance our budget. We did lose some other revenues as far as investments, some local safety fees, and some miscellaneous. That was $31,369.66. So the total increase, when you look at all the ups and downs, is $383,757.25, which equates to 7.83 points, or $128.88 per average assessment.
And the average assessed home is 163,000,
Yeah, around 163,000.
so everybody knows.
So I guess we have the hearing open to the public. If there is any questions about the budget.
Seeing no public here, I move that section be closed.
So now we should pass the budget, is that what? Now we pass the amendment. Okay, let's make sure we get this right. Okay, now we have a resolution 63A, 2011. Glenn?
Okay, this resolution will amend the 2011 budget as approved by Mayor and Council at the March 15th, 2011 council meeting to comply with new municipal library tax levy law under PL 2011, C.38. As the mayor explained, this is not a new library tax, it's just broken out from the municipal tax. And actually, the library will be using less public funds this year than last year.
So on everybody's tax bill, they'll see 4 sections now instead of 3. You'll see the county portion, you'll see the municipal portion, you'll see the school portion, and now you'll also see a library portion.
Right. And also county open space as well.
Oh, and county open space, that's true. So it's not an additional tax, it was just removed from the municipal portion of the taxes.
Any other comments? Now we need a motion to adopt the budget.
So moved.
Actually, you want to adopt the resolution.
Motion to adopt the resolution to adopt the budget.
That's next. First, the amendment.
Do we have to vote on the amendment?
I get you, okay. Now we need a motion for the amendment to the budget.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, now we can pull the council to pass the amendment to the budget.
Councilwoman Andre?
Yes.
Councilman Lane?
Yes.
Councilman Mortimer?
Yes.
Councilman Turner?
Yes.
Councilman Ross?
Yes.
You figure with 3 attorneys and our auditor here, we should be able to get the right sequence here.
That might be complicating the process, Mr. Mayor.
So, next, we have a resolution to adopt the budget. We have a motion for a resolution to adopt the budget.
So moved.
Second.
Third.
Please, poll the council.
Councilwoman Andre?
Yes.
Councilman Lane?
Yes.
Councilman Mortimer?
Yes.
Councilman Turner?
Yes.
Councilman Ross?
Yes.
Okay, next we have Resolution 64, 2011. Keith?
Resolution 64-2011 is a resolution that will authorize the Chief Financial Officer, Jill Good, to cancel a receivable balance on record for the Municipal Alliance Grant in the amount of $6,714.93. So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Poll the council, please, Martha.
Councilwoman Andre?
Yes.
Councilman Lane?
Yes.
Councilman Mortimer?
Yes.
Councilman Turner?
Yes.
Councilman Ross?
Yes.
Next, we have Resolution 65, 2011. Bill?
This resolution will authorize the borough's chief financial officer, Jill Good, to purchase saving bonds in the amount of $300 for the valedictorian and $200 for the salutatorian from the 2011 Deerfield 8th grade graduating class.
I'll second that.
We have a motion, we have a second. Poll the council.
Councilwoman Andre?
Yes.
Councilman Lane?
Yes.
Councilman Mortimer?
Yes.
Councilman Turner?
Yes.
Councilman Ross?
Yes.
Next, we have Resolution 66, 2011. Deanna?
A resolution appointing the 2011 playground staff with Lauren Tracy as supervisor at $3,037 and Natanya Gornstein as assistant supervisor at $2,235.10, and Natalie Herwinkowitz, Max Ingracia, and Kevin Drury as additional assistant supervisor at $2,170 for the season.
We have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
Poll the council, please.
Councilwoman Andre?
Yes.
Councilman Lane?
Yes.
Councilman Mortimer?
Yes.
Councilman Turner?
Yes.
Councilman Ross?
Yes.
Next, we have Resolution 67, 2011. Keith?
Resolution 67, 2011, having advertised for the contract for the 2011 Community Pool Snack Bar season, the Recreation Director, Frank Masella, recommends the contract be awarded to B&K Concessions, located at 29 Wall Street in Cranford, New Jersey. The bid amount of $9,500 is to be paid in 2 installments with a $500 security deposit and a $300 refundable cleaning fee and a $4,750 performance bond. So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Poll the council.
Councilwoman Andre?
Yes.
Councilman Lane?
Yes.
Councilman Mortimer?
Yes.
Councilman Turner?
Yes.
Councilman Ross?
Yes.
Next, we have Resolution 68, 2011.
Under NJSA 40A:11/11, subsection 5, this resolution will authorize the Borough of Mountainside to renew its membership with the County of Union for the cooperative pricing system as provided by law. So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Poll the council, please.
Councilwoman Andre?
Yes.
Councilman Lane?
Yes.
Councilman Mortimer?
Yes.
Councilman Turner?
Yes.
Councilman Ross?
Yes.
Next, we have Resolution 69, 2011.
Having participated in many community fundraising events, this resolution will waive the fee for Jersey-wide Event Services, LLC, for a temporary food vendor's license for the 2011 Little League Opening Day event held on April 16th, and to donate 50% of its profits to a local nonprofit organization. So moved.
Second.
Poll the council, please.
Councilwoman Andre?
Yes.
Councilman Lane?
Yes.
Councilman Mortimer?
Yes.
Councilman Turner?
Yes.
Councilman Ross?
Yes.
Next, we have Resolution 70, 2011. Glenn, you want to take that, Bob?
Sure. Having the need for many pothole repairs, this resolution will authorize the borough engineer, Michael Disco Jr., to advertise for bids for the 2011 pothole repair contract not to exceed $25,000.
We have a motion.
Second.
Poll the council, please.
Councilwoman Andre,
Yes.
Councilman Lane,
Yes.
Councilman Messler,
He's not here.
I'm sorry, Councilman Mortimer,
Yes.
Councilman Turner,
Yes.
Councilman Watts.
Yes.
Next, we have Resolution 71, 2011. Glenn?
This resolution, at the request of the Chief Financial Officer, will cancel certain general capital appropriations and credit those amounts to the Capital Improvement Fund.
Second.
Motion and a second. Poll the council, please.
Councilwoman Andre,
Yes.
Councilman Lane,
Yes.
Councilman Mortimer,
Yes.
Councilman Turner,
Yes.
Councilman Watts.
Yes.
Next, we have Resolution 72-2011. Jeff?
Having had a failure of an air conditioning system on the second floor under NJSA 40A:11/6, this resolution will authorize the emergency replacement of the unit. So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Poll the council.
Councilwoman Andre,
Yes.
Councilman Lane,
Yes.
Councilman Mortimer,
Yes.
Councilman Turner,
Yes.
Councilman Watts.
Yes.
Next, we have first reading of ordinance 1187, 2011. Bill, you want to take that, please?
Sure. This is an ordinance to appropriate the sum of $7,000 from the Capital Improvement Fund for the purchase of a replacement air conditioning system for the second floor of the municipal building.
We have a motion.
Second.
There's no public input because this is a first reading. Poll the council, please.
Councilwoman Andre,
Yes.
Councilman Lane,
Yes.
Councilman Mortimer,
Yes.
Turner,
Yes.
Yes.
Next, we have
Pay the bills.
bills and claims. Glenn?
Okay. Be it resolved by the mayor and council of the Borough of Mountainside that the following bills, the persons named and for the amounts stated below, having been duly audited and found to be correct this 19th day of April 2011, the same be paid after council's review if and when funds are available, and that the mayor, council president, administrator, and treasurer are hereby authorized and directed to sign and deliver warrants for same. Total $1,248,371.63.
We have a motion. We have a second.
Second.
Poll the council, please.
Councilwoman Andre,
Yes.
Councilman Lane,
Yes.
Councilman Mortimer,
Yes.
Councilman Turner,
Yes.
Councilman Watts.
Yes.
Okay, next, we have any council comments?
Yes, I have a comment. I don't have a formal report from the fire department, but I do want to just take a moment to commend our Mountainside Fire Department. Many in town have either know about it or have heard of a very significant fire that took place right across our border in Westfield on Mountain Ave at the Hamilton House apartment complex. And our fire department was, I believe, the first responder, was one of the first responders, and was a major participant in extinguishing that fire. I've had a number of people come up to me and comment on what an outstanding job our fire department did in assisting with respect to dealing with that fire. And it was a bad fire, but it could have been much worse, and I just wanted to take a minute to commend our department for all their hard work. And I'd like to point out that they also, wasn't as significant, but yesterday, I think on Summit Ave, there was I think it was a car fire or a truck fire. At early in the morning, and they responded in a timely manner and did some good work at that location as well. So I just wanted to thank the fire department for all their hard work.
Thank you, Bill. Any other comments? We are going to have a short executive session, whereas the Open Public Meeting Act of the State of New Jersey permits the public to exclude from certain matters to be discussed by the governing body, and whereas the mayor and council desire to discuss contracts and potential litigation, which are matters where the exclusion of the public is permitted, whereas public disclosure of the results of this discussion will be made as soon as the matter discussed has been resolved by the governing body. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the mayor and council of the Borough of Mountainside that the aforesaid matter shall be discussed in closed session upon the adoption of this resolution. We're going to talk about contracts and potential litigation. So we have a motion to go into executive session.
So moved.
Then I guess we have a motion to go out of public.